Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Warframe. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and salutations today. So you want to build a RailJack? Let's get to it. With the Empyrean update, you can now build a RailJack. Now, in order to build a RailJack, you will need a clan. So if you're not in a clan currently, you need to get a clan. Once you're in a clan, your clan needs to build a dry dock. So if you have architect privilege, then you can build the dry dock. If you do not, then you need to contact someone that does to build it. Once it's built, someone that has that privilege needs to start the research on the cephalon for the RailJack in the dry dock. Now once all the components, all the raw materials are in, it'll only take about an hour for that to finish. So you can get a blueprint and then take it to the foundry. Once you take it to the foundry, you will need 5 of each of the invasion battle pay, or the main battle pay for the invasions. So you will need 5 mutagen mass, 5 field run, and 5 detonite injectors. So if you don't have those resources, you can go to the invasion. More than likely there will be at least 1 of each. Now the detonite injectors and the field run, you get 3 at a time, but it does take a little bit longer for those to finish out. Mutagen mass goes a little bit more quickly, but you only get 1. And of course you have to do 3 of those missions in order to qualify. Once you have all the resources in the foundry, it will take a little bit of time. I believe it's 12 hours. Now backtracking a little bit, dry dock resources, depending on what size of a clan you're in, will determine how many resources, Ghost, Shadow, Storm, Mountain, and Moon. Now going from Ghost to Shadow will be a factor of 3, so it's 3 times the amount. From Ghost to Storm is 10 times, Mountain is 30 times, and Moon is 100 times. So the Ghost resources for the dry dock are 100,000 credits, 25,000 salvage, 850 circuits, and 15 tellurium, and 1 forma, of course. Now the only difference is the number of forma. The forma goes 1, 1, 2, 5, 15 from Ghost, Shadow, Storm, Mountain, Moon. Now once the cephalon is finished, then you'll have to go to the codex, and this is the part that isn't entirely clear, I don't think, in the game. Go to the codex, go to your quests, and then there will be one that says Rising Tides, and start that one up. Once you start that one up, it'll tell you to go to the dry dock. So you go back to your clan dojo, go to the dry dock, and then you'll interface the cephalon psi, with the dry dock. Now once you have that done, cephalon psi will tell you that you need to retrieve a fuselage, and he's found one. So you'll have to go through a mission and go ahead and pick that up. So there is no matchmaking with the mission, so you'll either do it by yourself, or if you have a group of people that are all doing the same thing, they can go in with you. Now all these types of missions tied to the RailJack, you are going to encounter sentience. It's almost like the sentience don't want you to grab a RailJack. So the RailJack mission, you have to find the part. It's marked, so it's not that big of a deal. You go to it, interact with it, and then you have to stay within the perimeter, or that circle, within a certain amount of time and keep enemies out of the circle. If you can do that, the percentage goes up. And then of course there are disruptors. Disruptors are enemies that don't have to be in the circle. You have to go find where the disruptors are at, take them out, and then go back to the circle, clear out the circle, and then start the process again. You don't start over from 0%, you maintain whatever percentage. It's just your progress will be halted when there's either a disruptor or an enemy in the circle. Once you have that finished, then that piece can be transmitted out to the dry dock and you can leave. Now, as I said, as you go along, these missions will increase in difficulty. You'll see more sentience, so do plan accordingly. This isn't just a walk in the park. You do have to do some preparation for it. Now, of course, the RailJack is a very large vessel, and of course you're going to need a lot of resources in order to bring it up to speed or repair it. So for the fuselage, and all of these are personal quests, so this isn't a clan bounty or a clan resource, this is all personal. So you have to personally have all these resources once you get that foundry item done. But that also means that once the railjack is finished, that railjack is yours. And no matter what you do, whether you stay with the current clan that you're with or you go to a different clan, you'll still maintain that railjack. So for the fuselage, once you bring it back to the dry dock, you will need 1 million credits. You'll need 100 cubic diodes. You'll need 3,000 plastids. You'll need 15,000 rubido, and you'll need 30 neural sensors. Now, once you have all those items, contribute all those items, it will take 12 hours for that to be repaired. So you won't be able to do anything else until that's finished. But you can start farming for the next item if you don't have everything that you will need for it. Now in total there are 6 pieces of the railjack, and each piece requires 1 million credits apiece. So if you do not have already 6 million credits, which probably most players do not, I recommend that you go ahead and in between finding pieces and repairing, that you go to the index that's on Neptune and go to the level that you're most comfortable with and do several rounds of the index to bump up your credits. Now you will need a base amount of credits in order to start the index depending on the level. There's 3 levels, and the amount that you get back will change depending on which level you choose. I believe 30,000 is the minimum and 50,000 is the maximum, and of course if you don't hit that requirement, then you'll lose that amount of money. But if you win, then of course you'll get a decent chunk of credits back in addition to your investment or gamble. And it's the same thing with any of the resources. If there are resources that you need, like if you don't have any cubic diodes, then you'll need to go to Europa. So speaking of resources, if you are new to Warframe, the RailJack missions probably aren't the best way to start. This is more for veteran players who have access to most, if not all, of the access nodes on the map and have had time to build up these resources. So I'm not saying that you can't do this if you're a new player. You most certainly can. It'll just take you a little bit longer because building up 15,000 rubido and 3,000 plastids and 6 million credits will take some time, versus if you've already been playing, you may already have most of those resources already. Now since Rising Tide came out, there are of course new resources like the cubic diodes that maybe you don't have, but those are a small investment compared to some of the other ones. Alright, so once you get the fuselage, after 12 hours have gone by and the repairs are done, you'll get a message and Cephalon Psi will say he found the next part, the propulsion system. So you go through another mission and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to find the marker, which is the part that you need. You're going to interact with it, and then you'll have to maintain a perimeter around that marker in order to transmat that piece of the railjack out. Once again, you're going to have sentience come in, and as I said, each time that you do this, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. The level of difficulty is going to go up. If you had no problem getting the fuselage or the propulsion system, probably won't be a problem either. Once you get the propulsion system back to the dry dock, so you finish that, you get the percentage all the way up to 100, and then you extract out. Go back to the dry dock, and the Cephalon Psi tells you, okay, we're ready for repairs. All we need are 1 million credits, 60 carbides, 1,000 cryotic, 20,000 nanospores, and 30 orokin cells. Once again, if there are things that you do not have, then you'll go ahead and farm for those resources. Now the carbides are dropped by Eximus units, so anywhere that there's going to be high level units, any type of defense or interception mission, anything that you're going to see a decent number of Eximus units as you go up in level, those are going to be good missions for you to do. So once you have all those requirements, all those required raw resources for the propulsion system, contribute all those, and then Cephalon Psi says, okay, we're going to start repairs. and then it'll take another 12 hours. Once those 12 hours are up, you'll get a message from Cephalon Sai will tell you that he's found the next piece, or the port nacelle. Now again, this is going to be another mission at a different location, and of course you're going to have to go to the marker, interact with it, and then maintain a perimeter just like before, getting that percentage up to 100%. When enemies come into the circle, it'll stop. Also, if there's disruptors, it will stop. And if there are sentients, you'll have to deal with those. And of course there will be sentients, it's just a matter of how many. Once you get up to 100%, extract, and that will be transmitted back to the dry dock. You go back to the dry dock, and Cephalon Sai says, alright, we got this port nacelle, and we only need 1 million credits, another 60 carbide, 5,000 circuits, 27,000 alloy plate, and 200 control modules. And of course, carbides drop from Eximus. Credits you can get from the index, and that's probably the best way to get credits. And then the other items, if you're short on circuits or alloy plate or control modules, look at the extractors for each planet and see what types of materials come from each planet. So if a planet extractor can get control modules, that will be a good place to go to farm control modules. Any of the enemies in any of those activities on that planet have a chance to drop it. The more rare the item, the less you'll see of them. So control modules are relatively rare compared to, say, alloy plate or circuits. So 200 may not sound like a lot, but it actually is when you're only getting, say, 2 or 4 in a mission. Alright, so once you have all those gathered together, all those resources, you contribute all those again to the dry dock, and Cephalon says, alright, we'll start repairs, check back in 12 hours. 12 hours goes by, you get a message in your inbox that says, repairs are complete, and found the starboard nacelle. Once again, you're going to go into a mission, and you're going to go to the point, interact with that point, the starboard nacelle. You're going to maintain a perimeter. You're going to get that percentage. I mean, you see where this is going. Each of the 6 pieces, you're going to have to do a mission. You're going to have to go to that piece, interact with the objective, and then maintain the perimeter, go from 0% to 100%, take out disruptors, take out enemies. Once you're at 100%, get out of there. Once the starboard nacelle is back in the dry dock, Cephalon Sai will say, okay, we have the next part. All we need are 1 million credits, 100 pustrals, 500 Fieldron samples, 50 Morphics, and 35 Neurodes. Now, pustrals are one of the newer resources, and they have to be mined on the plains of Eidolon. They're from the red ore veins, and they can also be found in RailJack missions. So all these new resources can be found in RailJack missions, or you can alternatively go to the plains of Eidolon or what have you, Eximus, or go to Europa for those cubic diodes to get these resources, these new resources that you don't currently have. Alright, so the starboard nacelle, of course, needs a bunch of resources. And once you have those resources, contribute them at the dry dock. And Cephalon Sai once again says, alright, we'll start repairs. They'll be done in 12 hours. 12 hours goes by, and you get a message saying the part's repaired, and I found the tail section. So you go into the mission, once again, same thing as before. Go to the objective, interact, maintain a perimeter, get up to 100%, extract. Go back to the dry dock, and Cephalon Sai says you will need 1 million credits, 80 Copernicus, 10,000 ferrite, 4,500 polymer bundle, and 15 argon crystals. Now all the veteran Tenno know that argon crystals decompose after amount of time, so you can't really have a stockpile of argon crystals. However, once the starboard nacelle begins to repair, and you know that within 24 hours you're going to retrieve the next piece and start repairs on it, you can start farming for argon crystals. Since you need 15, you know that you're going to need at least a couple of missions in order to get those. Now, when you're farming for pieces, any pieces, whether it is argon crystals or polymer bundles or whatever, it's best to go with a group, and it's best to have at least one player that will have higher drop rates for items. items. So something like a Hydroid with that mod that gives you an extra item drop guaranteed from enemy kills while using tentacles. Something like that will help you get those parts that you need a little bit faster than if you were just going with by yourself or using a random frame weapon, etc. Now, Copernicus are one of the new resources, of course, and that is mined from Orb Vallis. So you need to go to Venus and go to Orb Vallis, and you need to mine that resource. So any of the red ore veins have a chance of dropping Copernicus, and they're not a rare item, so it does not require a lot of time to get you up to 80 Copernicus. So once you have all of those resources, once again, you contribute them at the dry dock. Cephalon Psi once again says, we'll begin repairs, and it will take another 12 hours. 12 hours are up, you get a message that says, tail section has been repaired, and we have the final piece to go get. And the final piece to get is the engine cowling. This, of course, will be, of the 6 missions, the most difficult mission to get through. There will be more disruptors and sentients to deal with, so do come prepared. Do be ready for that. For veterans, it probably won't be too big of a deal. For people that are returning to Warframe that took a hiatus, or new Tenno that haven't played a lot of Warframe, this may be a little bit more difficult. Alright, so as before, you go to the objective, interact with it, maintain a perimeter, get that percentage from 0 all the way up to 100%. It'll be ready to transmat. You get out of there as quick as you can, and then go back to the dry dock. Once you get back to the dry dock, Cephalon Psi once again says, we're ready to start repairs. All we need are 1 million credits, 40 Copernicus, 500 detonite ampules, 10,000 ferrite, and 10,000 salvage. So looking at the total cost for the RailJack, you're looking at 6 million credits, 100 cubic diodes, 120 carbides, 120 Copernicus, 100 pustrels, 15 argon crystals, 30 orokin cells, 30 neural sensors, 35 neurodes, 50 morphics, 200 control modules, 15,000 rubido, 5,000 circuits, 4,500 polymer bundle, 3,000 plastids, 1,000 cryotic, 27,000 alloy plate, 20,000 ferrite, 20,000 nanospores, 10,000 salvage, 500 detonite ampules, and 500 field-drawn samples. Now, of course, that doesn't consider the cost to build the dry dock, to research the cephalon for the RailJack, and of course build in the foundry. Those are all for the RailJack parts. So you can look at what your current resources are at and see if this is something that you want to work towards, or maybe something that you can kick down the road a little bit and worry about later. Now, once you have that last piece, there will be one more mission to do in order to get the RailJack up and running. You'll need the key, basically, to start up the RailJack. And of course, they'll ask you, say, hey, are you ready to do this? And you say, yeah, of course. And you go and you do the mission, and it'll be very similar, although you just go to the objective, you pick it up, and then you get out. And there's going to be a lot of enemies. And of course, sentience. But you were expecting that, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Get back to your ship, extract, get out of there. You get back to the dry dock, you put that key in, and you're ready to go. Now, the great thing about the RailJack missions, when you're going to the star map and looking at all the different planets, up in the top right section there is an interactable menu to go to the RailJack missions. So you can go to the RailJack missions and you can participate in the RailJack missions even though you don't have your own RailJack. If you have your own RailJack, of course, it is going to be representative of your RailJack, which means that the color scheme is going to be all your own. And then, of course, once all those pieces are done and you have the key to start it up, you can customize your RailJack with different parts, different guns, etc. that will personalize your RailJack to be all your own. And that's it. Enjoy your new RailJack. Enjoy those new missions. Check us out on social media, and thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.